Welcome up with Wires. This is my Aunt Dani. Do you remember when you got me this game a couple years ago for Christmas?
I do.
Yeah, that's why she's not allowed in a GameStop ever again. So, I'm gonna be giving her $100 to get whatever game she wants from my local game store.
Going into my local game store, I had no clue what she was going to pick out for me. Dani and I had played a couple of games together, and she's owned maybe 3 or 4 game consoles in the past, most being older Nintendo systems. But instead of finding and starting with a console that she was familiar with, she went straight for the first thing that caught her eye. This pile was starting to scare me. She was completely ignoring the glass case with all the good games and instead filling the basket with as many value games as she could get. And we had only looked at 3 game consoles by this point, completely forgetting the rest of the store. Well, she didn't pick from a very large variety of consoles, but she definitely picked out some games, if you can even call them that.
What was your main goal with this collection?
To buy the worst games possible for you.
Thank you. Did you have like a console brand developer of choice when picking out the games?
No.
Okay. What influenced your purchases the most with these games?
The artwork on the cover.
Okay. So why Finding Nemo of all games?
Really, I was just f***ing with you. Honestly.
Thank you.
So it turns out that Dani hates me, not only wasting my money on Finding Nemo, but making me do it again for this stupid video. And just as a heads up, I will not be playing every game start to finish just for time's sake, so keep that in mind as I give my reviews. But honestly, I don't even think you need to worry about that for Finding Nemo. The game's plot consists of a 1-to-1 replica of the movie, including cutscenes ripped straight from the original film and an almost identical Wikipedia page. It's obvious that this game was trying to bank off of the popularity that the movie had, with Finding Nemo still being the most sold DVD of all time with close to 40 million copies sold. The game's sales reflect that number, coming in at 5 million copies sold throughout every console. And to put that into perspective, the entire Devil May Cry franchise that generation sold 6 million copies, Resident Evil 4 only sold 3.9 million copies at the time, so Finding Nemo had to have something amazing to sell that many. This game is just Finding Nemo with a ton of filler content. You're better off just watching the movie.
A very important question for you. Did you watch the movie?
I didn't even know there was a movie.
Okay. So this is the second licensed game that you picked out of these games. Why are you getting a lot of licensed games?
I didn't know I was.
Just buying bullshit on accident?
I am. I mean, what's the follow-up question to this one?
I don't know. That was it.
I mean,
just why'd you buy it?
There's an owl on it. I mean, I wanted you to be an owl.
That's fair.
And an owl I shall become. Thank you, Dani. The Owls of Ga'Hoole is a movie by Zack Snyder, the same person behind some of my least favorite DC superhero films and the music video for Desolation Row by My Chemical Romance. I watched it back when it released and thought it was really good, but then it became such a lost memory that I thought this movie was some weird dream I had. But no, it's real, and I'm playing the game. Honestly, I thought I'd hate this game, but no, it's actually quite decent. The intro does a great job at introducing the controls of the game while still keeping a high attention in detail. There's timed events happening all over the map, and the game is fully voiced. As someone who forgets what the entire movie is like, I wouldn't be able to tell that this is an adaptation unless someone told me. And the missions are fun to complete as well, with multiple tiny quests bundled together into one big objective, which is then complemented by story beats specifically designed for those quests. It keeps the player engaged, even when the gameplay loop can get stale at times, which is honestly the biggest complaint that I can give. A lot of the best parts about this game are the ideas ripped and reused from the movie, the grand set pieces, the high quality audio, and the good story direction, but you still need gameplay to complement the environment, and it lacks a lot of potential depth. The core mechanics aren't all that bad, they're just boring and feel unreliable most of the time. The game feels faithful to the franchise, which is ultimately what it should have achieved, even if the franchise only lasted 10 days.
What genre of games do you think I like to play?
What's like the... I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Not mystery. Like shooty, but like with a story. Maybe if you tell me it's the answer I'm trying to think of.
Action story games.
Story! That's what
Yeah.
I'm...
Story, the word story.
I was trying to think of a more complicated way of saying that, but story is what I thought you liked.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I'm not wrong.
I know you bought bad games because I'm making this video. Is that why you bought this?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. I mean, look at that guy. He looks angry.
Well, was she right on that?
What made you buy The Evil Within?
I thought it would be a game that reminded you of me, because I'm evil within.
Awesome.
The Evil Within is a franchise I've been meaning to touch. Directed by Shinji Mikami, the director behind some of the most influential Resident Evil games, my hopes were higher than the other games she bought. I played the PS4 version on my PS5 for better visuals. Definitely not because my PS3 was throwing a fit that day. And although I'm not the target audience for this game, I still had a decent time with it. Visually, this game is fantastic. The art style it pulled is gorgeous, with some cool lighting effects and a dark, gritty theme. All the enemies are just torn apart and ripped to shreds and terrifying. The grunts of the game explode into these barbed wire monsters, bringing out the evil within them. When this game hits, it hits! But I just could not get fully immersed in this world. The biggest complaint that I can give is the aspect ratio. The game is locked in this 21:9 format, permanently giving you black borders on your screen. You don't notice it during gameplay often since everything is designed around it, but it kept breaking my immersion more than it added to the whole cinematic feel this game shoots for. I think if you enjoy the survival horror genre, The Evil Within is a game you'll enjoy, especially if you're a fan of the older Resident Evil games. But to me, this just felt like a sad attempt at being a spiritual successor to Resident Evil 4, which didn't make things better when I played the next game.
So, did the game's genres influence your purchases at all?
I mean, maybe a little bit.
What caught your eye about Condemned?
The artwork on the front, it looked like it'd be fun. Yeah, and like, I like criminal stuff, so I also kind of wanted to play it.
I was not expecting this to happen. I really did not think this would happen, but Condemned Criminal Justice is one of the best Xbox 360 games I've played. I've played a lot of Xbox 360 games, and this is one of the most creative and impressive titles I've come across. Condemned is a story about an investigation on a group of psychopathic killers. Shortly into the game, your gun is stolen by one of the main antagonists. He kills your agents you're working with in front of your own eyes. Being the last one left, he pushes you off the building in a final attempt of murder. But you survive the fall and get taken in by a friend who found you laying on the streets. Now left alone, you need to finish the investigation on who these people are, and prove your innocence before being caught and framed as the murderer of your co-workers. This story has definitely been used before, but this was my first time experiencing something like this in a video game. The story immediately hooked me for the rest of the game and leaves a thought lurking in the back of my head as to what could happen next. Condemned is an unpredictable game, with jumpscares coming when you least expect it and NPCs having some of the best AI I've seen for the 360. Almost every enemy is on some sort of drug and reacts in unpredictable ways. Sometimes they kill their own friends, and sometimes they push things over and run away. The best part of all of this is that sometimes it's hard to tell what events are scripted and what happened by themselves, which makes it even harder to predict what could happen next. This game keeps you on your feet, and I think would do a fantastic job if given a modern remaster. With impressive sound design for its time, a unique story, and unpredictable enemies, Condemned Criminal Justice is a game I could easily recommend to any Xbox 360 owner, and probably the only game on here that I'll actually finish in my free time.
So, you chose a DS game, but you didn't even bother looking at the Wii. Why is that?
I don't like the Wii.
You're evil.
Hence, the Evil Within game. That's gonna be the worst video ever.
So, because she hates the Wii, I'm stuck with Mystery Case Files Million Hair. Thank you again, Dani. Mystery Case Files is a point-and-click adventure game where you have to solve the mysteries of where Million Hair went. It's developed by Big Fish, one of my favorite early Windows companies. They make super basic games that anybody can play with loads of content, and Million Hair is no different. There are tons of gimmicks to this game, including helpful ones like limited hints that help you find things a bit easier, or extra gadgets like the X-ray that let you see through objects. It's not a super crazy game, there's nothing to really talk about, but it is definitely a good purchase if you just want something to relax on the couch with and play for maybe 30 minutes.
So how much did the box art play a role in your purchases?
A lot. I mean, I really didn't read what the game was about. I just chose it off the artwork.
Okay. Do you think this game is going to be good based off of the box art?
I did think it was gonna be good, yeah.
I also had decent expectations for this game, but like she said, she thought it was going to be good. I kinda spoiled it on accident.
I actually thought this game was going to be good. It was not.
No.
Oops. Well, regardless, Summoner is a pretty average experience. Being developed by THQ, the same people behind Finding Nemo, you can take a pretty accurate guess as to the level of quality that this game stands up to. I think when it released, this game could have been a decent experience for someone who just wanted another RPG to play. If you look at the catalog of RPGs available at that time, it makes it harder to justify spending the money, even for the time. With poor stat-based combat, horrible camera and render distance, and just general performance issues, this game suffers from the early tropes that 3D, or most importantly, PS2 games had.
So I was not expecting you to pick anything anime. Why'd you pick this?
Because you like anime. I thought I'd get you at least one that looked like something you might actually want to play. Did you? Oh, we'll get to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where she got the idea that I really like anime. I mean, I like anime, don't get me wrong, but I've only ever watched Evangelion so far, a couple Studio Ghibli movies, and a single Nier Automata manga. But nonetheless, I am quite excited to jump into this game.
What's with all the yelling, Ted?
I was not expecting them to be a man. Troy Baker, the voice behind everybody's favorite golf victim, Joel Miller. This is one of the funniest castings I've seen in a video game. And what's worse is that whoever directed the voice actors did a horrible job, which makes the game even funnier. I think the writing as a whole is entertaining from the few hours I played, but it is just so hard to take the game seriously when the super flamboyant man just does things like this.
We finished them off.
I finished them off.
Huh?
This game has its issues, but honestly, that's perfectly okay. It does a great job at telling a fun and intriguing story with a mildly enjoyable gameplay loop. For RPG fans, there's going to be tens of hours of game to enjoy. Even with all of its flaws, it still manages to put a smile on my face one way or another.
Did you recognize any of these games prior to purchasing them?
Just Finding Nemo.
If you were to rate this collection out of 10, what do you think it would be?
Probably at 3. I mean,
Thank you.
I tried to get the worst games I could, so.
Before asking Dani the most important question of this video, I just want to give a shout out to my local game store. Getting this perceivably 3 out of 10 collection would not have been possible without the huge help from Doghouse Gaming. I've been going here for years now, and I've always been impressed by his amazing customer service and passion for his shop.
I'm just recording some little footage here and there. Wow.
He has always been my #1 spot for purchasing games, and is responsible for a good portion of games you see in my videos. So you can imagine how thrilled I was when he said I could film this video in his shop. So, as a sign of appreciation, I'll be leaving his Mercari link in the description of this video if you would like to purchase some of his games and support his business. A big thank you to Doghouse Gaming, and now it's time for the most important question.
Would you want to play any of these games that we got with me?
Yeah.
Do you want to play the Lego The Hobbit with me?
Let's do it.
Alright. Oh, we got the Xbox
achievement!
achievement! Yeah! A real fire next to the Lego
and you're
one.
burning.
Oh, and I'm dead.
So even though almost all of these games sucked, each and every one of them was able to put a smile on my face. And now, they were able to bring my aunt and I together. So why care if the quality of these games is good or bad? They did the job of what a video game should do, which is making people smile. And I think that's pretty cool.